Good evening, everyone. On the 9th of July last year, I was standing just behind these curtains, waiting for my name to be called. I knew it was coming, but somehow that did not make the moment any easier to process. As each and every position was announced, it all started to feel more and more real. Then I heard it. Head of school, Limat Del. People have asked me what was going through my mind in that very moment. And honestly, I still don't have an answer. I don't think I've ever felt so many emotions at once. Pride, gratitude, excitement, disbelief. It was one of those moments you dream about for years, but when it finally arrives, no amount of imagining can prepare you for what it actually feels like. Looking back now, what amazes me isn't that day. It's how quickly it became a memory. The year I spent so long looking forward to somehow became the year that passed the fastest. A year ago, I stood here wondering what this journey would have in store for me. And today, I'm standing in the very same place, wondering where all the time went. That left me with one question. If this was going to be the last time I ever stood on stage as a student, what did I actually want to leave behind? When I sat down to write this speech, I quickly realized that I had two options. I could give the speech everyone was probably expecting, the one with a carefully balanced number of thank yous, a neat summary of a year, a few inspirational quotes, and a sentimental ending that somehow ties everything together. I'm sure it would have been perfectly respectable, but it also would have sounded exactly like the sort of speech you forget 10 minutes after it's over. The more and more I thought about it, the more I realized that that didn't make much sense. This isn't an annual report, and it's certainly not a retirement speech. It's simply the last opportunity I'll ever have to stand here as a student of this school. So instead of trying to say what I think should be said and following the norm, I'd rather say what this year has honestly meant to me. There are a lot of things that people tell you before you become head of school. People tell you that it's a privilege, that it's a huge responsibility, and that the year will disappear before you know it. I remember nodding along, thinking I understood exactly what they meant. But I didn't. Nobody tells you that you'll spend more time thinking about a 5-minute conversation with a student than a speech you gave in front of the whole school. Nobody tells you that after every assembly, you'll walk off stage wondering whether you've done a decent job. Nobody tells you that there are days where you'll leave school convinced you've done a decent job, and other days where you'll replay every decision you made on the drive home, wondering if you could have handled something differently. That's just part of it. I think that's why this year has changed the way that I look at so many things. Before this, I thought leadership was always about knowing what to do. But it isn't. Most of the time, it's just doing your best with the information that you have and accepting that you won't please everyone. I thought success was collecting achievements because for most of my life, that's what I spent my time chasing. Then somewhere between prefect meetings on Monday afternoons, assemblies in this very auditorium, and all the ordinary days in between, I realized the things I'll remember the most were never the things that I put on a CV. There'll be the conversations in the corridors after school, the teachers who somehow always knew when something was wrong without me saying a word, and the friends who made my 14 years feel far shorter than they had any right to. The more and more I think about it, the more I realize that every good thing I've spoken about tonight has one thing in common. It always comes back to people. No one gets to where they are on their own, and I certainly didn't. So before I leave this stage, there are a few people that I need to thank because pretending I got here by myself would probably be the biggest lie I've told this evening. Mr. Armin Veer-Singh, Chairman and Head of CIS, thank you for taking a chance on me. Out of every student in this school, you believed I was the one capable of leading it, and that's something I'll never take lightly. Mrs. Sarah Phillips, Principal, thank you for trusting me with this post. Mr. Mahesh Vithanage, Head of Secondary, thank you for keeping me grounded and for never lowering your expectations of me. Mr. Taranga Guruge, Coordinator of Academic Affairs and Teacher in Charge of Prefects, Thank you for the guidance, the advice, and occasionally the reality checks that I probably needed more than I cared to admit. And to Ms. Sharifdeen, also teacher in charge of prefects. Thank you for being there through every success, every mistake, and every lesson in between. I know there were days when I made things far more difficult than they needed to be, but you never stopped having faith in me. To the teachers who believed in me before I had really achieved anything, thank you. Thank you for trusting me with opportunities when I was just another student trying to find my place. Thank you to the teachers who looked past one bad test instead of treating it like the end of the world, who celebrated every good result with me as if it were your own, and who kept reminding me that I was more capable than what I thought. I don't think you realized how much those moments had actually stayed with me. And there is one teacher I simply can't leave without mentioning. Ms. Kalhari, my very first teacher at CIS back in 2012, when I was just 4 years old. You met me right at the very beginning, before the grades, before anything. You taught me how to hold a pencil, how to write my own name, and lessons about kindness, respect, and character that have stayed with me ever since. It's funny to think that the same little boy who walked into your classroom 14 years ago is now standing here giving his final speech at CIS. So thank you, Miss. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Whatever I go on to achieve after tonight, a small part of it will always begin in your classrooms. Thank you. To Mr. Prasanna and the entire maintenance team, thank you. I don't think people always realize just how much of this school runs because of the work you do behind the scenes. Thank you for helping me with all the little things that somehow turn into very big things. From putting up posters and banners to helping bring every event we organize to life, whether it was the fashion show, school productions, setting up the sound system and benches at assemblies, or everything in between, you were always there without hesitation. So much of what happens at this school simply would not happen without you. And I'm incredibly grateful for all the help you've given me throughout my time at CIS. Next, to my prefects guild. Where do I even begin? Without a doubt, this guild has been my favorite part of being head of school. When I stood on this stage last year, I realized something afterwards. I didn't actually know half your names. Looking at all of you now, that's so hard to imagine. Over the past year, we've gone from being a group of students wearing the same badge and the same green shirt to becoming one team, and somewhere along the way, one family. We've been through a lot together. Prefects Day at the very start of the year, every Monday afternoon, squeezed into prefects meetings, the completely unnecessary rivalry between the alphabet and the curry cutter, the year 12s treating the points table like it was the Premier League. Shout out to Kavinder for winning Prefect of the Year. Prefect days at other schools, the end of term fun meetings that we have that somehow became more entertaining than productive, the Prefect Awards and the Prefect of the Month winners, the countless duties, assemblies, events, and everything in between. Looking back, it was never really any of those things individually. It was about doing them together as one guild and one family. Of course, not every single day was easy. There were times when you got told off. There were probably even more times when I was the one telling you off. But that was never because I expected perfection. It was because I knew what this guild was capable of, and I wanted us to be the very best we could be. Looking back now, I genuinely believe we've been one of the strongest prefect guilds this school has ever seen, and no one, I repeat, no one can take that away from us. To Anya and her team, stepping into leadership next year, you're inheriting something really, really special. So keep looking after it, keep pushing forward, keep looking out for one another, and if you do that, I have no doubt that this guild will continue to thrive. To every single one of you wearing that prefect's badge tonight, thank you. Thank you for making this year everything that it was. Leading you has been the privilege of my school life, and I wouldn't have wanted to do it with anyone else. I've said it before, and I'll say it again because I truly do mean it. This guild has been the best part of being head of school. Of course, my thanks would not be complete without a few more people. To Chanel, Chitira, and Shania, and my friends, thank you for standing beside me every step of the way in my journey as head of school. But there is one name I absolutely can't leave out. Nikhil Piris. The unofficial 5th head of school. I genuinely don't think I would have survived this year without you. Thank you for helping me deal with every random situation that landed on my desk, usually in exchange for me helping you sort out your situationships. I think we both got a pretty good deal out of that. But jokes aside, thanks for just being you. Thanks for always picking up the phone, for listening to me ramble when something had gone wrong, for telling me off when I was being irrational, and for sticking with me through highs and lows. You're one of the few people I've never had to second guess, and I don't think you'll ever understand how much that has meant to me the past 14 years. So thank you, Nikhil, thank you for everything. To our office and admin staff, security team, and the wonderful ladies at the tuck shop and school shop, thank you for everything you do behind the scenes to make this school run and feel like home. And finally, to the batch of 26, the graduating class, thank you for making this year so enjoyable and for making every challenge that bit easier. I'm incredibly proud to have shared these last 14 years with some of you. And finally, the biggest thank you of them all, my Amma and Tata. To my Tata, thank you for showing me what hard work really looks like, for every sacrifice you made that I probably didn't even notice at the time, for teaching me that if something is worth doing, it's worth doing properly. So much of the person I've become is because of the example you've set, not through what you've said, but the way you lived your life. I hope one day I can make you proud, as you've always made me feel. And to my Amma, there aren't enough words to thank you. From my very first day at CIS to my very last. You've been there through every success, through every disappointment, every late night, every early morning, and every moment in between. You've celebrated every achievement as if it were your own, and when things didn't go my way, you somehow knew exactly what I needed to hear. Whenever life wasn't fair, you never looked the other way. You stood up for me, fought the battles that I wasn't old enough to fight myself, and always made sure I was treated with the fairness and dignity that every child deserves. More than anything, you taught me to never stay silent in the face of injustice, to stand up for what is right, and to know my own worth without ever losing my kindness. No matter where life takes me after tonight, you'll always be the first person I want to make proud. Everything I've achieved, every opportunity I've been given, and every person I've become can be traced back to the two of you. Thank you for believing in me long before anyone else did, for loving me unconditionally, and for giving me every chance to become the person standing here today. I love you both more than you'll ever know. A few weeks ago, someone asked me whether I was excited to leave school. I told them yes, but the truth is, I lied. Because how do you leave the place you've ever really known? How do you say goodbye to a place that has watched you grow from a little boy who couldn't even hold a pencil properly into the person standing here tonight? How do you walk away from 14 years of your life and convince yourself that it's just another goodbye? Because the truth is, I can't. In a few minutes, I'll walk off this stage, shake a few hands, smile for a few photographs, leave this auditorium and take off this badge. Life will move on, just as it always does. In exactly 1 year, Anya will be standing here delivering her final speech. Another prefects will announce, and the batch of 2027 signing off. The school will carry on exactly as it should. And that's a strangely beautiful thing. Because it reminds me that none of us sitting here are here forever. We don't own this place. We simply get the privilege of calling it home for a little while. And one day I'll come back, this time with new faces. I'll walk through these corridors and tell them, this is where I grew up. I'll be the proudest person on earth. And I hope that years from now, when I'm walking through these gates, there'll still be something here that reminds me of the little boy who arrived in red shorts and a white t-shirt all those years ago, without the slightest idea that this place would soon become his second home. I hope he'd be proud of the person he grew up to be. There is no title, no grade, and no badge that I'll treasure more than the 14 years I was lucky enough to call myself a student of Colombo International School. Long after people forget who the head of school of 2026 was, I'll still remember the sound of these bells, the walk down these corridors, the classrooms, and the people who unknowingly became part of my story. So thank you, CIS, for giving me a childhood so full that leaving it feels like leaving a part of myself behind. Wherever life takes me next, there will always be a part of an 18-year-old boy that never quite walked out these gates. Goodbye, CIS. And if home is where a part of your heart stays forever, then a part of mine will always, always be here. Thank you. The incoming head of school, Anya Bitanage, will now make her first speech.